I thought my wife was having an affair. Turns out she was hiring a hitman to take me out. I 32 million. Never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this. But here we are. This whole thing unraveled over the past 2 weeks, and I still don't know what to make of it. So some backstory. I've been married to my wife, Emily, 29F, for 5 years. We met at a mutual friend's wedding, hit it off immediately, and the rest is history. No major issues in our marriage, at least nothing I considered unusual. We have our disagreements, but I always thought we were solid. That was until 2 weeks ago when I found something that flipped my entire world upside down. It started with something small. Emily had been acting weird for a few months. Nothing major, just little things. She started going to the gym more often, got a new group of friends I didn't know much about, and seemed distant. I chalked it up to stress or just needing space, but then I noticed she'd been extra protective over her phone. She used to leave it lying around, but now it was always face down, always on silent. One night she was in the shower and her phone lit up with a notification. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the message caught my eye because it was from someone named R. It just said, "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing." My stomach dropped. I sat there staring at the screen, my mind racing. I knew I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but my gut was screaming at me that something was off. I wasn't even sure what to do. Should I confront her? Pretend I never saw it? I decided to wait. The next morning, I casually asked about her plans for the day. She told me she had a late meeting at work. Now, Emily works in marketing. Sometimes they do have late meetings, but the way she said it sounded rehearsed. So I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. I left work early and parked a few blocks away from her office. Around 6 p.m., she walked out, got in her car and drove straight past our house. Not to the gym, not to the grocery store. I tailed her, from a distance, obviously, and after about 15 minutes, she pulled into a small coffee shop. I parked across the street and watched. And that's when I saw him. A guy, maybe mid-30s, tall, dark hair, wearing a suit. He walked in, and less than a minute later, Emily followed. They sat at a corner table, leaning in close, talking, laughing. I couldn't hear anything, but I didn't need to. My heart was pounding. I felt like I was in some bad movie. But then something even weirder happened. Emily took out her phone and showed the guy something. He looked at it, nodded, and then handed her an envelope. She slid it into her purse like it was nothing. They talked a bit more, then left separately. I barely processed what I had just seen. An affair? Maybe. But that envelope? What the hell was that? I sat in my car for a long time after Emily left, trying to process what I'd just seen. If it were just a coffee meetup, I might have been able to convince myself it was nothing. But the way she took that envelope, that didn't sit right with me. I thought about following the guy, but by the time I snapped out of it, he was already gone. So I did the next best thing. I went home and waited. Emily got back around 8 p.m. She walked in like nothing had happened, kissed me on the cheek, and went straight upstairs. I could hear her moving around in our bedroom, probably changing, maybe texting someone. My mind was racing, but I tried to act normal. "Hey," I called from the kitchen. "How was work?" She came downstairs, hair damp from a quick shower, and smiled. "Ugh, so long. I'm exhausted." She flopped onto the couch like she had actually spent the whole evening at some draining meeting. I felt sick. I wanted to ask her right then and there, "Who's R? Why did you lie? What was in that envelope?" But I knew I needed more. I didn't want her to gaslight me or twist the story into something innocent before I had real proof. So I played dumb. I sat next to her. We watched some random show. She even fell asleep against my shoulder like nothing was wrong. And I just sat there staring at her, wondering who the hell I was even married to. The next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to see what was in that envelope. It was driving me insane. I knew I had to find it. Emily left for work like usual the next morning, and I called in sick. I waited until she was gone, then searched the house like a madman. I started with the obvious places: her purse, her nightstand, her closet, nothing. Then I checked our home office. In the bottom drawer of her desk, under a pile of old papers, I found it. A thick, plain white envelope. It had no writing on it, no markings. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside were two things, a stack of $100 bills and a key. I sat there staring at them, my brain refusing to connect the dots. Was she paying someone off? Being blackmailed? Hiding money? And the key, what was it for? I checked it closely. It was a small silver key, no brand, just a number etched into it. Number 207. The key. At this point, my curiosity outweighed my fear. I knew I had to figure out what this key opened. I spent the next few hours trying to track it down. I looked up storage unit locations, P.O. boxes, anything that could match the number. I even considered calling a locksmith, but that felt too risky. Then it hit me, hotels. I searched for hotels nearby, specifically ones with numbered rooms that went up to at least 207. After some digging, I found a boutique hotel about 20 minutes away that matched. I had no idea what I was walking into, but I had to see for myself. I drove to the hotel, walked up to the front desk and tried to act casual. Hey, my wife left her key at home. She's staying in 207. Can I grab a spare for her? The receptionist barely looked up. We don't do spares, but you can use hers if you have it. I pulled out the key, heart pounding. She nodded and waved me off. Go on up. I stood outside room 207 for a full minute before unlocking the door. The room was clean, barely touched. The bed was made. The air smelled like fresh linen. Nothing looked out of place until I noticed the small black duffel bag on the desk. I unzipped it and felt my stomach drop. Inside were more stacks of cash. I'm talking thousands, and underneath them, a burner phone. I picked it up, hands shaking. The screen was locked, but there were notifications. I pressed the power button, and a preview of a text popped up. Yar, everything's set. Let me know when you want to move forward. What the hell was my wife into? I suddenly felt like I wasn't just dealing with an affair. I was dealing with something way, way bigger, and I had no idea what to do next. I stood in that hotel room, staring at the burner phone like it was a ticking bomb. Stacks of cash, secret meetings, a cryptic text from R. I knew I had two choices: walk away and pretend I never saw any of this, or find out the truth. Of course, I chose the second option. I took a deep breath, grabbed the burner phone, and did something reckless. I called R. The line rang twice before a deep male voice answered. Yeah? I froze. I hadn't thought this far ahead. My heart was hammering. It's me, I said, trying to sound confident. A long pause, then, what's wrong? We're on schedule. On schedule for what? I tried to keep my voice steady. I need an update. Another pause. I already told Emily everything's set. She didn't tell you? I clenched my jaw. I just want to hear it from you. The guy sighed. Fine. Same plan. She meets me tomorrow night, hands over the rest of the money, and we take care of it. No loose ends. Number loose. Ends. I felt my whole body go cold. Emily wasn't cheating on me. She was planning something bad. The confrontation. I barely remember driving home. My mind was spiraling. Was Emily in trouble? Was she being blackmailed? Or, God, I didn't even want to consider it, was she planning to hurt someone? I knew I couldn't play dumb anymore. When she got home that night, I was waiting. The envelope and the key were on the table in front of me. She stopped dead in her tracks when she saw them. Her face went pale. Where did you get that? Her voice was calm. Too calm. I ignored the question. Who is R? She blinked. Then she did something I didn't expect at all. She laughed, not a nervous laugh, a real amused laugh, like I had just asked if she was an undercover spy or something equally ridiculous. I felt my stomach drop. What's funny? I asked. She shook her head, still smiling. You really have no idea, do you? I clenched my fists. Emily, tell me the truth. Right now. She exhaled and sat down across from me. Then in the calmest voice imaginable, she said, I was never cheating on you. I was trying to have you killed. I swear my body shut down for a full 10 seconds. I stared at her, waiting for her to say she was joking, but she didn't. She just watched me, expression unreadable. What? My voice came out weak. She leaned back. You weren't supposed to find any of this. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. You're, you're serious. She shrugged. Why do you think I've been so distant? It's been exhausting pretending everything is normal. I couldn't breathe. But why? She rolled her eyes like I had asked a stupid question. Because I'm done, and divorce is messy. This way, I get everything, and no one asks questions. She said it so casually, like she was ordering dinner. I felt like I was in a nightmare. The woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, had been actively planning my murder. My mind was racing. I needed to stay calm. I needed to get out of there. So I forced myself to laugh. I shook my head, pretending to be amused. Wow, you really had me going there. She tilted her head, studying me. Then she smiled. You always were gullible. That smile told me everything. She thought she still had the upper hand. She thought I would sit there and do nothing. But she was wrong. I stood up. I need some air. She didn't try to stop me. I walked out, got in my car, and drove straight to the police station. I showed them the money, the texts, the key, everything. At first, I thought they wouldn't believe me, but then I played them the recording. Yep, I had recorded our entire conversation. The second she admitted to planning my murder, I had pressed record on my phone, leaving it face down on the table. Emily was arrested that night. Turns out she had already paid half of the hitman's fee, and the police were able to track him down too. She tried to claim I was setting her up, but with the evidence and the recorded confession, she didn't stand a chance. Now she's sitting in a cell, and I'm sitting here, writing this, still trying to process the fact that the woman I thought I'd spend my life with was trying to end mine. So yeah, I thought I was uncovering an affair. Turns out I was uncovering a murder plot, and the target was me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notifications, and if you like this video, press like button. See you in next Deep Reddit videos.